Our next storyteller is Sandra García. Sandra is an entrepreneur. She and her husband flip homes after she retired from state government work. Let's welcome Sandra.
Hi. I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. Sometimes I go on a car ride or wherever I'm going, and I hear an old song from Juan Gabriel on the radio, and it makes me, oh my gosh, and it makes me so sad because I think of my little sister Elsa when she was little, and I'm gonna make her cry when she sees that. She would sing to us while we were working in the fields. She would always sing to us, and she was little. My parents, both of my parents, me and my younger sister were born in Mexico. I was a farm worker along with them for 9 years. My little sister would memorize songs while we worked in the fields, and she stayed in the truck. In the sun, she entertained herself with dirt, and but she would sing to us. And she would charge us a quarter for every song that she memorized. And she would walk with us until she got tired, and then she'd just sit right in the middle of the fields until we came back. Bless her heart. I mean, back then it was good memories, to hear her sing. She loves to sing. She still sings. But it's so sad that that my parents had to see the child that she was so little, but we did what we had to do. My dad would always, when we were growing up, my dad would always say, and you tell people, don't be embarrassed, you tell people all the places that you visited. Tell them you've been to Colorado, to Montana, to Michigan. And he said, just don't tell them you went out there to work in the fields. Just don't tell them. Like, we would be embarrassed. We were not embarrassed. We worked in Colorado many, many times. In Michigan, we mostly worked in Michigan, Montana, West Texas. We worked in the fields 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, every day. And sometimes we didn't know any better because we were children, we were young, but we would pray for rain. I know my parents didn't like it when it rained because we didn't get paid, but it was a little break for us. Just we would see clouds and it was like, oh Lord, please let it rain a little bit. So we would go home a little early. That was 6 days a week. Sunday was for church, go to the laundromat, go buy groceries. It was a lot of work. I don't know how we were able to work 10 hours. Very hard work. Your body, you can't imagine how your body hurts. There's so many blisters in your hands. I mean, blisters, and then they would pop, and you still had to continue working. And the sunburns, major sunburns that we would come back with. I mean, it was just unbelievable how your body can recuperate from the blisters, from the sunburns, but it did. We worked on sugar beets, beans, we picked cherries, we picked cucumbers. And cucumbers was one of the worst jobs ever. I love cucumbers. And I remember every time we picked cucumbers, the first couple of days, my mother would help me. She would push me down in the toilet because your back kind of gives out. And you can't even sit in the toilet. But then your body gets used to it, and you carry on, because that's what you have to do. There were so many of us that go buy groceries, like me. I go to the H-E-B and I pick cucumbers and I pick oranges and cherries and this and that. And we go through it but don't even realize, what it took for somebody to put that in our stores, in our tables, how we feed our children and our families. it takes somebody to do that to be able to appreciate. And every time I pick a cucumber, I swear to God, my back hurts. I swear, I feel it. And I remember my poor mother, that she had to do that because we couldn't sit in the toilet. I still love cucumbers. I still love them, and I still eat them. I'll continue to get them for the rest of my life. But being a migrant worker, you don't get treated like a human being. I mean, you don't. You get treated like people are above you. You know, you're beneath them. I remember a truck in Montana. We were working on the fields, and a truck passed by, and it was me and my sister and my mom and my two aunts, and we were kind of working side by side, and a truck yelled at us and called us horse. And I'm like, horse? Like, I didn't understand. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, what did they think we were? You know, we were working, we were trying to feed America. But that's now. Back then, I just thought I didn't understand. And while we worked in the fields, the farmers were constantly spraying pesticides while we were working there. I mean, no consideration to, you know, us being there, and we were kids, and the airplanes would come and spray above us, and didn't even think twice about it. We didn't know any better. I mean, we had to work. And there were no bathrooms ever provided. I flip homes, like she said, and the first thing that we do is provide a porta potty, you know, for people that go work. But for us, there was nothing. There was no bathroom. And it was horrible being a girl and also being on your period. It was the worst. We would get so excited when we see cornfields. I still see cornfields, and that feeling that I get is like, oh my God, that there was a place that you could go and, you know, you had to wait for it to grow, but that you could hide and they wouldn't see you go to the bathroom. It was, I mean, I still see the cornfields, and it's like, oh my God, I remember that. There was also a farmer in Michigan, and I'll never forget his name because we worked for him for so many years. He wanted to buy me. He told me, ask your dad how much money he would want to purchase me. I couldn't believe it. And of course, I asked my dad, and my dad was so upset. I mean, he couldn't believe that. He said, I'm never going to work for him again. I'm like, you know, it's like no big deal. You know, like now I think, oh my God, that was horrible. But I just told him, I'm not for sale. I'm not for sale. You just don't get treated. I don't know. I don't know what the mentality is of some people, but you're a human being, and you're trying to feed. You know, you're trying to feed America, but you don't get treated like that. I remember a farmer in Montana. He placed us in a home that was right next to cows. There was a lot of cows that he had, and there were so many ticks. I mean, they were all over the house. They were all over. I remember at night, we would stick cotton balls in our ears to make sure that they didn't go inside our ears. But that's what he gave us, and we took it. You didn't have a choice. But prior to being a farm worker, my parents, me and my sister, we lived illegally in East Texas in San Antonio, in fear. I was little, but I remember being so scared. I remember looking through the windows. I would hear a car and I would look through the windows. I didn't really understand, but I knew I was scared. I remember living in a garage with my parents. We slept on the floor. And then my dad got, I guess, caught by immigration, and they sent us back to Mexico. It wasn't hard for us to cross the river because we lived next to the river, so we used to cross it for fun. And then we came back to the United States, but as resident aliens. I was 9 or 10 years old when I was working the fields, and they would list me as having 13 years old, because when you're 13, you get paid as an adult. But that also meant I had to work as hard as an adult. I was 9 or 10, but I worked 10 hours a day. I don't know how. I can't imagine my children now doing that. But we did it. But the good thing is they were always as a family. My parents were very good. We just wanted to buy a house. We just wanted to have a better living. Never got in trouble, never did anything illegally. We just worked hard. And even when we got back home, we'd go to school, and on the weekends, if I wanted to buy shoes or a dress or something, I would go work on the weekends. I'd get on a bus in a little town in Eagle Pass with a whole bunch of men that would leave like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we'd go work in the field so I could make some money so I could go to the movies or something. So I that's all I knew how to do, work hard. When I left Eagle Pass, I was 18 years old. And my dad used to always say, never, ever, ever marry a migrant worker. They will bring you back. You know, you guys need to study. Of course, he had, 3, 4 girls. Y'all need to study and, get an education. Don't ever, ever come back over here. This is not what you want to do with your life. Study so that you never come back. He was always, always pushing us. And, we spent so much time working in the fields together that, we would hear him. And he would always tell us how important it was. And, that he feels so sorry that we had to work in the fields. And my mom was the one that pushed. She's like, they're fine. They're not dying. They can do it. But my dad was always pushing education. And thank God my 2 sisters graduating from St. Edward's, and they've done really good. We've all done really good, but it's helped so much that we worked hard and know the value of living. And for years, my parents became a U.S. citizen years and years ago, and they would ask me, it's like, why don't you become? And I'm like, why do I have to pay? I shouldn't pay. I said, I've been, reporting on my Social Security since I was 9 or 10. I said, now I have to pay for an application. I've never been arrested. I have no tickets. I worked for the state government for 31 years, and I still have to pay. I couldn't understand. Well, that was dumb of me to think that. I'm a U.S. citizen now because I need to vote. I need to vote for another president because I'm very happy with this one, and my fault too, because I feel that I haven't contributed to voting, so I haven't had any voice. But now I do, and I can't wait to vote. In the winter of this last year, I was talking to my sisters, and I told them, I said, I want to rent a house this summer, and I want to take my kids, and I would take your kids, and I would take your girls and take them to work in the fields. And they're like, really, you would do it? I said, it's going to kill my back, and it's going to kill whatever. I said, but I want them to know what it takes to work in the fields and appreciate what some of these people are doing for us and how they get treated. I wanted my children to understand, to humble themselves, because they don't need to work. But I wanted them to maybe get discriminated, to get treated like we got treated, so they can think differently of how the rest of the world might think. I want them to know that, because a lot of us don't know what it takes to be a migrant worker and how to be treated, how you treat it different. And then the virus came in and kind of messed up my plans, but I'm still going to do it. The first chance I get, I'm going to rent a house somewhere, and I'm going to take my kids, and everybody who wants to send their kids, I will take them, and I will get them to work, and I will get them to know what it feels to feed America. Thank you for listening to my story.